even George Clooney, a big fundraiser for President Biden, are pressuring Biden to get out of the race. Clooney just out with this bombshell guest essay in the New York Times. He writes, quote, "It's devastating to say it, but the Joe Biden I was with 3 weeks ago at the fundraiser was not the Joe Big Effing Deal Biden of 2010. He wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. He was the same man we all witnessed at the debate. We are not going to win in November with this president. On top of that, we won't win the House, and we're going to lose the Senate." This is George Clooney. He was at a fundraiser hosting it with Biden just 3 weeks ago. And top Democrats go even further, warning that Biden will lose in a landslide.
Yep.
The president just doesn't seem to he hasn't come to grips with it. He's not winning this race. If you just look at the data and talk to people around the country, political people around the country, it's more likely that he'll lose by a landslide than win narrowly this race.
We have to be honest with ourselves. It's not just the White House at stake. And all of these seats are going to be very, very closely contested. So the top of the ticket is essential.
Just like in 2020, when everyone said Joe Biden's the guy, let's get behind him, I think we need a different choice if we're going to be able to beat Donald Trump.
I still think I'll stand by my thing that he won't run, but if he does, we're just making a idiotic choice. We're losing. We're not winning.
Donald Trump is on track, I think, to win this election. And maybe win it by a landslide and take with him the Senate and the House.
You know, Emily, I heard David Axelrod say yesterday that he can't find or think of Democrats who are willing to go into Biden's living room and communicate to them face to face some of the things that we're hearing on TV or mostly behind the scenes. You can't get closer, most likely, to the Biden living room than a New York Times op-ed that's probably on the coffee table with George Clooney, one of your big fundraisers, saying it's time to go, Joe.
That's right. I have to point this out at the risk of being obvious. But George Clooney is a mega donor. He's not only a mega donor, but he's also the top biller for fundraising. He is who this president has been trotting out since, by the way, before 2020 to say, hey, everyone, fall in line, donate as much as you can to my campaign. The thing that's notable about this, I want to make 2 points. Number one, that this is indeed a very, very public breaking of the guards, right? This is not a off-the-cuff answer to a reporter. This is not a text that was leaked. This is an op-ed that was published. If there's not a call to arms in this, then I don't know what is. And the second thing is that the question remains, who encouraged him to do this? Was it George Clooney himself? I wonder. I doubt it. So I think behind the scenes, there's someone or people that are far more persuasive, far more leading behind the scenes that said, hey, George, we need you now to do this. But the bottom line is, what now? As he says, he goes on to say, let's hear from Wes Moore, Kamala Harris, Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, Andy Beshear, J.B. Pritzker, in that order. Let's agree, he says, that the candidates not attack one another, but in the short time we have, focus on what will make this country soar. Then we can go into the DNC and figure it out. And final point, if all of a sudden this is a catastrophe and now everyone is seeing the light, well, what about the president governing? Where was his calls for him to step out as we've all lost servicemen and women and Americans under Biden's watch?
You know, Carly, we hear often from White House, from top officials, he's healthier than the rest of us. Younger aides can't keep up with him. Well, what we were just looking at a moment ago was images from a fundraiser 3 weeks ago. And George Clooney is basically saying to all the White House talking points we're hearing, that's not true. I saw him face to face. It's the same guy on the debate stage.
Yeah, he said in the op-ed, the debate essentially was not a one-off. I saw this during the fundraiser, one of the biggest fundraisers of
George Clooney raised $30 million during that fundraiser 3 weeks ago. Now he is retracting that and is calling for Biden to step down. What is wrong with these elites, these top Democrats? They have been seeing this over the last couple of years. We've all seen it. I believe wholeheartedly that Jill Biden is pushing her husband, Mr. Joe Biden, into this. And it's sad to see, and it is elderly abuse. We all know that. We all know that. We see it, for crying out loud. And it is sad to see. And after the debate, when Jill Biden said, oh, Joe, you answered all the questions. I mean, who says that to their husband, especially the President of the United States? That made him look like a little kid, and, she wants it. She wants all the power. And then she sent out that picture of herself sitting behind the president's desk, and the caption was preparing for the G7 summit. I mean, come on. This is sad to watch. It is. And we need Trump in office. Bottom line. We need Trump whether you like him or not. He's the better candidate for the job. Period.